BrettCasts, transform and roll out.
Hello, welcome to BrettCasts. So this is one that I've been wanting to do for a while. People complain that the Transformers toys have become way too easy, especially for the recent Last Night toy line. The various movie toy lines have varied in transformation difficulty. 2007 movie line was middle of easy and hard. Revenge of the Fallen was on the harder side. Dark of the Moon was much like the 2007 movie line. Age of Extinction was easy to medium. Last Night stays in the easy area. Now, I never had one of these, but I've heard that the Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime took 20 minutes to transform, which is a good and bad thing. What Hasbro has to do with these is make them appeal to kids, because that's what the demographic for toys is. And that's not to say that Hasbro ignores their adult collectors, but I'll get to that in the Masterpiece line later. I feel that the movie toy lines are made mostly for the so-called audience of the movies, which is kids. Well, I think they're more for teens, if you ask me. So then the good and bad of a complicated transformation is that for a kid, if you're in the heat of playing and you want to stay in that state of mind, imaginative state of mind while you're playing, and you have to transform something that takes 20 minutes, it kind of just pulls you out of that. And that's something that you don't want to have happen. Now, this is the kind of thing that Hasbro has thought of, which is why we have the honestly very stupid lines of one-step and three-step changers. But hey, they must sell pretty well because I see as few of them as any Legion, Deluxe, Voyager, or Leader class toy. Now, to the adult collector, an Optimus Prime that takes 20 minutes to transform is fine, because you're just going to put it on the shelf, and maybe once in a while you'll transform it. But that's pretty much it. I do think that about of the 1 and 3 step changers is getting out of hand. The amount of them is getting out of hand. Plus the supposed robot modes of these things, they just look like shit. And I'm one that thinks the kids shouldn't have to go through a kind of levels of Transformers. And I understand that with kids and parents, they don't want to pour a whole lot of money into toys for kids. I get that. But I also think that Hasbro thinks that a kid under the age of 10 couldn't handle a Legion, Deluxe, Voyager, or Leader class toy on their own. Now, obviously, Hasbro is doing well by appealing to kids and adults alike with the Generations toy lines like Combiner Wars, Titans Return, and Power of the Primes. And I love these lines because they basically take the classic look of characters and, they sort of update it, I guess. Look doesn't change that much. And sometimes they get it right on the nose, and sometimes they don't. And it's great for older people who might have grown up with G1 and other cartoons, and it's great for kids that may only know, say, the animated Prime and the new Robots in Disguise shows and the movies. To kind of be able to share this, I don't know what you want to call it, but share this kind of thing. And I'll say that the Titans Return lines, when they have toys like the Titan class Fort Max and Trypticon that can retail anywhere between $120 and $130, and that's not something a kid can afford. not something parents of those kids would shell out. And, most of the adult collectors aren't going to necessarily buy it just because they can find better in third party and, well, just third party company in general. But I still find myself enjoying the Generations toy line. I'm ready for the next one, which at this time is Power of the Primes, and I look forward to seeing what comes after that. Now, we can't talk about Transformers toys without discussing Masterpiece third party and knockoffs that are obviously made for adult collectors with the kind of price tags that they have. Now, I'm not one who can afford to get all the Masterpiece ones that are out there as much as I want to, as much as I love the line. And this includes the Masterpiece movie line. Now, I understand that Takara can't put out Masterpiece figures as fast as they probably want to, and that's kind of where my problem is. I know that it takes a lot of time to make the kind of amazing figures that the Masterpiece line always puts out, but I can't ignore the fact that, we just now finally got a Masterpiece Sunstreaker. We're getting our third or fourth Masterpiece Beast Force figure, Dinobot. Though I don't really care about Beast Wars, and in terms of G1, we only have one Masterpiece Dinobot, which is Grimlock. And I think you see the point. I think, too, that Takara puts a lot of time and effort to update their Masterpiece figures so it can be the best that it can be. I mean, there's a plethora of examples. Just look at, the MP1 Optimus Prime to MP10, MP3 Starscream to MP11, MP5 Megatron to MP36. You can just see how much better the engineering and how far it's come. And the other thing too is when they make a mold for a new character, they then have to make every possible figure that they can with the mold. For example, Prowl, Blue Streak, and Smokescreen all use the MP17 mold. Wheeljack and Exhaust use the MP20 mold. Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker use the MP11 mold for the updated look. Although Skywarp and Thundercracker are considered special editions of the MP11 mold. Trax and Road Rage use the MP25 mold. Sideswipe and Red Alert use the MP12 mold. Ratchet and Ironhide use the MP27 mold. Inferno Grapple and the soon-to-be Artfire use the MP33 mold. And is this a bad thing? I don't think so, because Hasbro constantly remolds and repaints, even in Titan's Return line. And then on top of that, you get special editions like MP10B Black Convoy, or MP10 Convoy Mode Eva, MP09B Black Rodimus Convoy, MP12T Tiger Track, MP12G Lambor G2, which is the Sideswipe mold, MP11A, MP11S, just MP11A and S, which is Acid Storm and Sunstorm, MP18S Silver Streak, MP11 NRNT ND, which is Dirge, Thrust, and Ramjet, MP21R, which is technically Cliff Jumper, or Bumble Red Body is what they call it, and so on and so on. And my problem is that as they keep making previous Masterpiece toys better, or making more of these special editions with already existing molds, I think it's holding Takara back from making new molds. NP39 Sunstreaker looks great, and yes, it does still use the same mold as Sideswipe, but they managed to engineer it to transform in a completely different way from MP12, and it's quite amazing if you ask me. I still believe that all the re-engineering of existing molds is holding Takara back, and this is what makes people go to the third-party companies, and in some cases, if they can't afford the prices of Masterpiece figures, leads them to KO toys, knockoffs. It's people like myself who look at Takara and ask, how long will it be till I get my Masterpiece Jazz or Cup or Blur or any of the combiners, for crying out loud? Then despite that, then there's Masterpiece Movie Line. I can appreciate what Hasbro and Takara are trying to do and making new molds for these. Although the NPM4 Optimus Prime is heavily based upon that Revenge of the Fallen Leader class Optimus Prime mold. It's great too for people who've wanted movie-based toys with the more complicated transformations. So yeah, it is good for the movie fan base. I have nothing against that. In fact, I do want to eventually buy the Masterpiece movie toys, and if I had the money for them. But I want to see more of the G1 characters. I love Jazz. I want my Masterpiece Jazz Takara. How fucking long is this gonna take? So then we land on third party and knockoff. Now I've seen my share of reviews and whatnot of third party and knockoff Transformers, since I do own the KO Masterpiece Wheeljack, and it looks just as good as the regular one, and in most cases a lot of them do look just as good, sometimes better than the Masterpiece toys do. So let's start with the knockoffs first. Is it wrong to buy them? Well, I think that depends on the person. I don't feel bad for doing it. As much as I want to support Hasbro and Takara, and as much of a Transformers fan that I am, I know that if one sits down and analyzes knockoffs compared to Masterpiece, there are differences. I don't really care. Wheeljack's mine. I love it as much as the real Masterpiece one, and it cost me probably $30 to $50 less. There are things I can appreciate that the KO toys do. If you're a person who likes to collect one specific scale or class of Transformer, KO has oversized and upscales, which they apply to, the movie, the Last Night figures, and even they've been starting to do that with Titan's Return. I think it's wonderful. I don't know why Hasbro doesn't incorporate something like that. Just take the mold, make it bigger. They've even, like I said, they have upscaled Titan's Returns and Last Night figures as well. I like it. They need to keep doing that. Then we have third-party figures. Third-party, honestly, is the most wonderful thing ever. If it was not for third-party companies, we would not have Masterpiece scale combiners or headmasters, or just characters that probably will never for a while have an official Masterpiece figure, probably for the next 5 to 10 years. The transformations are as complicated, if not more complicated, than an official Masterpiece toy. The plastic quality is usually up there too, depending on the company, and the toys can look more accurate to whatever media they're based on. I personally love the look of the Mastermind Creations figures that are based on the IDW Comics versions of characters, or Planet X's figures that are based on the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron video games. It's something that Takara will never do, and that in the case of the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron toys, Hasbro has already done, and they kind of were just meh versions of it. So there it is, the toy talk. Ultimately, what it boils down to is that Hasbro needs to stop treating kids like they're stupid. Takara needs to get some new Masterpiece molds going. As for KO, I think they're alright for people who can't afford official Masterpiece prices, or like to collect one scale of Transformers. Finally, third-party companies, please do not stop what you are doing. You all do amazing work. I understand, and I get the price point of your figures with the amount of work that goes into it. Keep pushing Takara to make better Masterpiece figures and keep making the Masterpiece scale combiners, headmasters, and whatever else you can. Just keep doing what you're doing, third-party companies, especially those comic book versions of characters. I love it. And keep it going. So as always, thank you for listening, watching. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up. And maybe drop a subscribe if you really want to. Not forcing it. And that's all. So this has been BrettCasts on Hasbro and Transformers toys. Goodbye.